Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's having a good night, a good day. It definitely was a very interesting day. We got some really cool news. We've got a new book coming out next March, March 25th, right? I think. Or March 8th, March
Like
18th.
15.
Um, yeah, it's called Sunrise on the Reaping. We know it's going to be the 50th Hunger Games, or it starts on the morning of the reaping of the 50th Hunger Games, and that's pretty much all that we know. I think there was a quote from Suzanne that she said she based it on like a specific philosopher. Um, but that's about it. So, how are we feeling? How has today been for everyone? It's a lot.
Amazing.
I feel exhausted from being so excited all day.
Yeah.
That's so real, Ronnie. Oh
I
my
feel very
gosh.
drained.
There's exhaustion, but also just like it's so surreal. I mean, I know we've been saying this, but it just feels like I keep checking the Instagram posts, being like, who posted this? Is this credible? Is this really happening?
It feels like to me it's so fast because obviously as fans we're always speculating about could there be a new book one day, and I think a lot of us were feeling like I don't know, it seems like Ballad could be like the last one, or at the very least the last one for a while. And I
Mm.
kind of had this feeling of like, yeah, I mean, if we ever get a new book, it won't be till a few years from now. Like, we're not going to know about it until 2 years from now because,
Uh,
Ballad was announced in 2019, but the copyright was filed in 2016. So that's what, like 3 years, you know what I mean? So I don't know.
mm.
It's interesting at how quickly this came about, which has me all sorts of hype.
In the movie announcement, I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting that at all
With a
today.
release date,
With the
Yeah.
release date,
every
we had to wait so long for a release date last time, and the timeline of this is honestly so wild because
Mhm.
not very long from now, we're getting the book in March, and then like a year and a half later, it's going to be the movie.
And they'll probably start filming next year,
Yeah, later next year.
which is, oh my
Which,
God.
like, if you need extras, if you need any extras, Lionsgate, like, we have a few people we know
Call
of.
us
I
up.
don't know.
Can we film? Can we film in the US, please?
with like
Please.
48 tributes, that's a lot of extras you're gonna need.
I'm hoping for some like weird tribute names. I hope we get a full list of all 48 tribute names.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Knowing Suzanne, I feel like she would take that opportunity. She'd be like, I'll give it to you. Absolutely.
I
100%.
need I need the world building lore for my fan fiction, please. So get on that real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we think this book is about?
Oh,
Uh,
God.
I mean,
Oh,
we
brother.
know that it's starting on the morning of the 50th reaping, but
Mhm.
like there's so much that that could mean, and everyone is so hyped all over the internet about Haymitch's games and Haymitch, but like, do we
Don't
think
know.
that Haymitch is the main character?
no.
No.
Yeah, I'm not too certain on that.
Me
He's
neither.
not.
I feel like if it was, it would have been part of the little blurb. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because it's a character we
Yeah.
already know. But the fact that I've been thinking about this a lot, actually. I think the fact that the character wasn't announced, or like the main perspective, I guess, hasn't been
Mm-hmm.
revealed yet, leads me to believe a few things. Either it's a perspective we haven't heard from before, like a new character, like from scratch, or a character, like a smaller character from the original series, like Plutarch or Caesar or a career or something like that, or the possibility of multiple POVs, which I don't think is as likely, but I don't know why not. I guess Um, but one thing that I did find interesting because I was trying to remember when Ballad was announced as the untitled Panem novel, we didn't know it was about snow at that moment. That came a little bit later. So I'm curious how quickly we'll get that information for this book.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
sure. I mean, it doesn't, I know it seems like it's kind of far away for the new book to come out, but I mean, it's only 9 months. I mean, it's not,
Yeah.
we
It's not
should
even a
be,
full year.
yeah, we should be getting information soon. How long was it from the announcement of Untitled Phantom Novel to Ballad? Like it actually coming out?
Ooh.
Almost a year, right?
Yeah.
Oh wait.
Wasn't it like summer
Well, there was
2019?
two announcements because like they announced the
Yeah.
book, but then they also announced the title.
Oh, right. Yeah, I don't remember. It was so long ago.
Oh,
And it
from June 2019 to May 2020. So a little
Okay.
longer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
I think what is so lovely about this news, like this round of news, as opposed to like Ballad and like maybe like why we're feeling so drained and like exhausted after today, is because like we get to experience it with one another. I feel like for me
Holly.
at least, I'm losing my voice. For me at least, it was just so special to like wake up and like immediately have friends to turn to and people to
Mhm.
text and call and be like, oh my God, what is happening? Like, because when the news first came out for Ballad, I was just alone. I remember I was working and I just sat there and I like think I texted my friends and they were like, woohoo, but like no one gets it like our group, you know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
fans really
Yeah.
get it. And so like to be in like a friend situation and like have friendships that are like fans as well, I think is just so rewarding.
Oh,
Yep.
that's
Those
so true.
those group chats were popping off.
Oh my
Oh man.
God. And those, oh my gosh, all the accounts, like every Hunger Games account ever. And like we have new accounts now. We already have the
Oh yeah.
username taken. Like I think it's great.
Yeah, it was such a different experience to like open Instagram. Just like you were saying with Ballad, I was like having to seek out information versus today I was just like gleefully scrolling, being like, woohoo, there it is again, and there it is again.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
And it's also like exciting to think about all of this happening so quickly after Ballad. Um, just in terms of like I know this is not as fun, but still just like from it from the standpoint of like the success of the franchise, you know, like I'm so glad that
Mhm.
this franchise still has a place in pop culture and that it's being embraced so openly. I mean, of course, you're always going to have people who are going to call it a cash grab or like whatever, but I think with everything that's been happening in recent times, since 2020 especially, I know Suzanne has a lot to say.
He's been
um,
cooking.
She's
yeah.
cooking, yeah.
I mean, I remember the like short little interview clip from her at the premiere for Ballad where she was talking about how scary it is, how quickly we're evolving or devolving, I guess, into an autocracy. Am I saying that right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like that was like it's so funny to me because like that was a premiere where everyone's like dressed all nice and everyone's excited for the new movie and there's people like filming TikToks and doing whatever and she's like, I'm giving humanity a warning. Like it just felt so drastic in comparison, but that's what she does. And especially with this book being focused on propaganda, misinformation, and like, you know, controlled narratives and stuff. I think that's so relevant to today, whether it's be like the fake news stuff or the AI stuff. Like, there's so much in that alone. And that's something that I've always been fascinated by in the world building of Panem is kind of like the messaging that the capital puts out. So I'm excited to seems like we're going to be diving into that. So that's really, really exciting for me.
Do we
Yes.
think
It's like they're
oh,
oh
go ahead.
it's
Go
like
ahead.
the themes that have been so prevalent in the original trilogy, like she's expanding on a different theme. Like in Ballad, it was more focused on like how we understand humanity. And that was a big theme in the original trilogy, but now this is pivoting into another thing that she interwoven within the plot. So I think it's so cool that she's able to expand Panem in a way that's not just like going to make it something other than it's not, because she's already just kind of expounding on what already exists. So like I am so pumped for this new book.
I think
Yeah, but
we're
yeah, I
just
feel
all
like you need to talk a little bit more about what you're theorizing the book to be about a little bit based on like the snippet that we've got from Suzanne.
Yeah, so let's see. I want to pull up that little snippet. Um It says, with sunrise on the reaping, this is what Suzanne's saying. With sunrise on the reaping, I was inspired by David Hume's idea of implicit submission and, in his words, the easiness with which the many are governed by the few. Collins said in a statement. The story also lent itself into deeper dive into the use of propaganda and the power of those who control the narrative. The question, real or not real, seems more pressing to me every day. So, AJ really explained about like the propaganda portion, but the other part that Suzanne, just based from this quote that she's going to be expanding on, is how we do quote give the easiness with which the many are governed by the few. David Hume's, he's in, I think it was 18th century, 17th century, Enlightenment philosopher, a Scottish philosopher, and he really distrusted the government, and that he explained that we gave up our own power to the few, and that truly we can govern ourselves. And if we decided to, we could take back that power because we gave that power to the system in the first place, the many, the we as in the many. So I can see how she can expand on this with Hamish's games, because in the original trilogy, we really like the revolution really gets kicking off with Hamish kind of using the arena against the games. And that was a first that, as far as we know, that we're aware of, a first that's happened within the game. So just a little snippet of the system losing its own power and like it not having control in that moment. And so a little spark of a hope, but also a little bit of a fear within the capital to try to, stifle dissent or stifle that hope. So that's kind of, what I can see where the book is heading towards, that trajectory. But as far as specific characters, I have no idea. I think it would be cool to continue this theme of adding new people. Like Lucy Gray, I would have never have guessed her, but she was one of my favorite characters. So I'm excited to see who's going to be new, and I'm hoping Tigress will still be in this one. But yeah, I think she's going to just continue her uh, theme of picking up different details within her the original trilogy and just trying to tell us the message of what, like, she's kind of like the oracle of our society. Like she's trying to tell us something and we need to listen. But luckily, we are listening because, even like people who aren't big Hunger Games fans in the past, like they're all like texting and messaging me, like, did you see the news? Like it's becoming more popular within like pop culture. So it's very exciting. So more people are actually listening and watching. So I'm very excited to see what she says.
Well, I mean, I've seen like on Twitter this morning, like it was trending for a very good amount of time, which makes me very excited. And people that I didn't even know liked the Hunger Games were tweeting about it, saying how excited they were. So
That's yeah, that's huge.
I just
it,
love how much more people are aware this time
yeah,
because
Yeah.
it didn't seem like that in 2019. Maybe because it was so out of the blue.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then when it actually came out, it was during the pandemic. So
Well,
people
and
were not focused on it.
not for nothing, but the like Ballad being a villain origin story about Snow, while I personally think, and I think a lot of us agree that that was like really cool and important for the story, it's not as popular of a choice as Hey Mitch's Games, which is a thing that like everybody has always wanted ever since the books came out way back when.
Yeah.
So I think that makes it easier to sell to the public, even if right now at this time we still don't know if Haymitch will be the main
I think
character
that's
or
the
how.
idea.
Yeah,
Get people to
um,
think it's about Haymitch.
yeah,
Yeah,
which
I feel like it
might
was
be.
so smart of
I
Suzanne.
also
Yeah,
Just like
think
really
that
smart of her to
Ballad
be
FOMO
like,
was just first. Because first there was COVID, so there was no book tour. And then there was an actor strike, so like that got pushed back. People didn't
Ballad.
know about Ballad. Everyone, like, people know about it now.
Mhm.
I still find people that don't know about Ballad. And it shocks me every single time.
Well,
I
those
wonder
people are
if,
definitely living under a rock.
Yeah,
oh,
well,
for sure. I wonder if there's going to be a connection to Ballad.
I
There
was
has
thinking
to
about
be.
that. I'm hoping we get more snow too.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he's president at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. And I
I
want
feel like
oh, go
Was
ahead.
it
was it running?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I know we haven't really talked about the movie quite yet, but like Jude Law for Snow. That's all I'm saying. I think Jude Law would be a really good Snow, like
Oh.
older Snow.
that that gives me Fantastic Beasts vibes. I can't.
I know, but like
Yeah.
he didn't get to finish his run on those because, you know, so give him a second chance.
But I think I can't
Or
remember
Tom
who it
Blythe.
was. Yeah.
Tom Blythe. Tom
I
is
don't remember who
done.
was
His
saying
time
it
is over.
in the tribute talk chat, but someone was talking about like, oh yeah, I could totally see a scene where like Snow is talking to Haymitch like after the games, given the little snafu that ensues. And that's a scene that I would love to see, regardless of
Yes.
POV
Oh,
it's from.
like a
And
catching fire situation.
yeah, very much because it's a quarter quell too, so it would be a nice parallel in that way as well.
Yeah.
And like I said, regardless of whose perspective we're seeing it from, but just to echo that, I think would be really rad.
I think
What
it'd
if?
be.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was gonna totally change.
I was gonna say something silly. I was gonna say, what if the perspective is from an Avox? They don't focus the whole time, but they just observe a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh
And it's
my
Ooh.
gosh.
That
That's
That'd
what
be
my
kind of
partner
cool,
was saying.
actually.
I'd be
That
down
would be
for
cool.
that.
all right, well, that's the next book.
Do you,
2028.
do you think that she's doing like three total again, like what she did with the originals?
See, that's what I was trying to think. I don't know because 50 and then I mean she can't make too far of a jump between 50 and 75 unless she goes backwards again, which I don't know if that
Yeah,
would make much sense.
part
I
of
think
me
it
was,
depends on if it's about Snow or not. Because then, if it's
yeah.
someone completely different, then it could just be another standalone.
Yeah.
The first time I read the little blurb this morning through my tears, I couldn't read clearly, and I read it initially as because they were saying like the like 24 years before or something, and I got too excited and I read that as 25. So I was like, oh my gosh, the first quarter quell, you know. And then I
Yeah.
in that like split second, I was like, oh, the first quarter quell and like how that came to be. So this has to be a continuation of Ballad, blah blah blah. Which I mean, in theory, it could still be, I guess, but like, that's where my mind went at first. But this feels like it almost like a its own thing. Because I feel like if it was a continuation of Ballad, they would have said that. But
Yeah.
maybe I'm wrong. But I don't know.
I
I
have
think
a
we'll get,
feeling it's going to be its own thing.
yeah. I feel like we'll get information that will kind of tie in some things like from Ballad, but also from the main franchise, but that it'll still ultimately be its own installment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
Because I
just
mean, I'm
mean
sure
not being
there's
in Snow's
way.
point of view as like not being a continuation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
you're
I
tech-
feel
I'm
like there is.
I'm really hoping for a new perspective. I mean, I loved the Snow perspective and obviously the Katniss one, but I think this is such a great opportunity to do one that isn't either, which is something that I've been saying for years, where I'm like, give me
A
a
career.
career,
A career.
a
Yes, a
career,
career.
or
Yeah.
because
He's so
it
good.
it would make so much sense too with the theme of propaganda because I think the careers are the most brainwashed out of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, for sure.
He's
Um,
so good with propaganda. Oh my gosh.
that or a
Mhm.
game maker, and I feel like the game maker or career perspectives are not to make a Hunger Games pun here, but two sides of the same coin kind of thing, right? Where both of them are upholding this narrative of what the games are supposed to be, so that could be an interesting thing as well. So, and also the fact that like the colors, because I was looking at that too, because me, illustration, graphic design, all of that, I was like, okay, they chose these colors on purpose, what do they mean? And the purple and blue thing reminds me of Plutarch. And that's like the first time we see him in
Yeah.
Catching Fire is in that blue and purple outfit. And that could be really reading into it, but I don't know. It feels like maybe it's a thing. It could also be really cool if it was Plutarch, because it kind of would shed some light on him saying, maybe it's you who inspired me to come back, kind of thing. Like that's
That's so
because
true.
Mm-hmm.
because
Oh my
Haymitch was a
God.
little rebellious with his games, right? So then, oh, and now we have a new rebellious tribute from
Mm,
12. You've inspired me to come back.
yeah. And like the way that this
Right.
book ends is probably going to be with
Terrible.
the death of Haymitch's family and those he loves, right? Like that's going to be awful. And
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
then Plutarch comes back later and decides that they can do something different.
Yeah.
I'm like really betting on Plutarch, honestly, for
Me
this.
too.
I think it'd just be such
I
a
hope.
fascinating perspective. And like I know we were just in the capital for Ballad, but like I think that seeing the capital even like this farther in the future from the 10th games would look more like
Yeah.
the capital from the original movies. And that would be like really interesting to see like the fashions and like
Mm.
the start
Yeah.
of body modifications and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I don't know, it also creates the opportunity for Tigress to be a character in this again and maybe get some answers or at least a little bit more clarity on what it is that happened between her and Snow.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because
some
maybe she
conversations
decided,
between Tigress and Plutarch. That's what I
yeah,
need. I think she's probably a stylist. Maybe
yeah,
one of the career
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
stylists.
That's what
Yeah.
That
I'm
would make
imagining.
sense.
Yeah,
yeah.
I was curious because I saw people speculating, like, is she Haymitch's stylist? But I was like, I wonder when in her career this would be, like towards the end or not.
We
But
don't
she
really.
she also has so much privilege too, right? So she probably would
Mm-hmm.
be one of the better districts
Mhm.
Yeah.
stylists,
Yeah.
I would think. Unless
Unless,
they've already fallen out of favor
yeah,
and then she gets
Right.
like pushed to District 12.
Mhm.
Right. I
And
can
like
see that happening.
it would be
I
like
just feel like she
interesting
wouldn't
to
be District 12 stylist because Katniss comments on how like the outfits aren't good. I don't know. I feel like she would be a good stylist.
yeah, she
yeah.
would.
Mhm.
That was the insinuation in Ballad that, she's crafty and she can like, like the way that she makes like Corio's shirt, right? It's like very smart and clever and efficient, and it ultimately like he looks good for the reaping. So the impression that we have of her is that she's good at what she does.
Yeah. And it
So
would be
Or maybe she can't really explore like how good she is at being a stylist because the audience expects, something in
Mhm.
particular.
yeah. And it would be interesting because like that would be like a good way to show how she ends up helping Katniss and the others. Like maybe like her connections with Plutarch or Haymitch since they were both in the rebellion or they were rebels, like how she got to that point,
Mhm.
got connected, if that makes sense.
There's just so many ways this could go.
Yeah.
Like
And I'm
it's
just
wild.
like honed in on the title of it, Sunrise on the
I was
Reaping.
just about to
Like,
say that.
what
Yes.
does that even mean?
I know. I'm
Right,
like,
that's
what's
what
the
I'm trying to
importance?
think. So
Like,
my first reaction was like, oh, this is gonna be focused on like the rebels because there's a sunrise on the reaping. There's a like where propaganda used to work well, now we're seeing it kind of fracture a little bit. And like there's more clarity, and we see like the rebels kind of having like a more like clear, like better system of communication and how like and plotting and stuff like that. That was my first instinct. And then the second one was like, well, maybe I'm just reading into it, and maybe it's just like the beginning of like more intense like capital propaganda. So I don't know.
I'm really
that makes
curious
sense.
about sunrise being almost like a synonym or metaphor for a beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
But
Right.
it's also like it's the reaping. Like it's not sunrise on the
Right.
arena or sunrise
Right.
on games. It's sunrise on the reaping. So like what about the reaping other than the fact that it's a court of quell, which makes it different than the others? But like what on top of that is so significant?
I wonder if something happens at the reaping.
Haymitch sings a song.
I mean that's I mean
When
that's
I read that it was going to start with the reaping, I just got flashbacks to it's just I don't know. I don't know if I can do another opening book with the reaping at the beginning.
Well, it's been a
What if
theme, you know, of
But that's like a
something
kid.
happening at a reaping.
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe something happens before the reaping? Maybe
Maybe we
Hamish
finally
wasn't supposed to
get
be in the games.
maybe we finally get some insight on how career districts volunteer and how that works,
Yeah.
Man.
especially with 48 tributes.
Oh
Would
my
people even want to
God.
volunteer for that?
Well,
Well,
with
yeah, I
enough
think from their
propaganda.
perspective, it's such an honor to volunteer for a court of quell,
Yeah,
you
but like
know?
2 times the people.
Yeah, but then if they win, that means that they basically won two
Double.
in one.
Do they
Yeah.
get 2 houses?
Double the honor.
I just kind of imagine it like a Animal Crossing, like when you like expand your house. It's just like,
Oh my
good job,
God.
good job.
Do we
I don't
think
know.
do we think that they would have been this is enough time for them to brainwash the careers to where they would see everything
Absolutely.
as an honor?
Oh, I think
Absolutely.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at the very least, like it's like let's just say hypothetically, if career culture started on the 11th games, that's like
Mhm.
40 years worth of stuff being put into place. So let's say it takes them 10 years to maybe start getting to that point where they're like,
Mhm.
Hunger Games, let's go. That's still 30 years.
Right.
And like,
Well, because
and that's the young,
my only thing would be like I could see how an older generation would still try to say one thing different while the younger generation is experiencing something else and like they are
Yeah.
being part of that brainwash. I can see how and they are the ones being reaped. So I could see
Mhm.
how they would be, ready in that sense. But I'm curious if like the older people within those districts would be trying to tell them something else.
Well, maybe it
But
would be
maybe the
like,
kids get taken away to like an academy or something, right?
Oh,
To
yeah.
train. And so they kind of
Yeah, that's
separate
right.
them from the older
plus also
generation.
like the younger generation looking to the older one being like, well, what you guys were doing wasn't working. So at least we're, you know what I mean? Like we're doing this
Mhm.
now. Kind of like,
Right. Yeah.
you know,
Mm.
because clearly uprising against the Capitol didn't work for y'all last time. So let's make the most of what we have, which is this. And, especially if that's combined with some sort of culty academy type stuff, then
Right.
young impressionable minds will do it to you.
It's
I
just it's such
totally
an interesting title, Sunrise on the Reaping.
I like
Mhm.
that this cover, which is a placeholder cover, but I like that it's seemingly of a shadow of a wing, which is interesting also.
Yeah.
That feels important too. It's not random,
Right,
What?
like I think it's the beginnings of like a solid like rebel underground system. Maybe we'll get some more information on District 13. Like
Is
that's
Hmm.
yeah,
is
go
that
ahead.
sorry, I just was thinking as you were saying that. I can't remember now because I haven't read the books in a minute, but like when Katniss notices the like replay of a bird, is that a District 13 thing?
Oh, it's
That's the
capital
footage
footage
that
of
they show.
District 13.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. Hmm.
Right, yeah. Oh yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's yeah, that's delicious to think about.
I've
What?
I've just got to think about how traumatized Snow would be of birds.
And takes hating birds to a whole new level. Yeah, it's interesting because Ballad felt like such a defeat for the districts, obviously. Like the story ends on such a like a defeated tone. I mean, obviously victorious for Snow, but
Mm.
he's not the one you're supposed to be rooting for, right? But this, yeah, it's the word sunrise that I keep going back to. Like I just
Yeah, I think it's the
Hmm.
yeah,
beginnings of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think start, like
Yeah,
mhm.
start of something.
which makes me wish there would be another book after this one, but I don't know. I'm getting too far ahead of myself.
I feel like there's a good chance that this could be the watch me eat my words in like 3 years from now, but this could be the last installment of this set of characters. But if there was the opportunity for more, it would be like a Dark Days or even a pre-Dark Days situation, which I know a lot of us are also really interested in, because
Oh, yes.
I could also
Yes.
see very easily Suzanne wanting to write about that, because clearly this whole franchise so far has been a warning based on what we're currently doing. But, you know, Panem didn't just exist, like it had to become that. So I could totally envision a series or a book or something where kind of the precursor to all of this. That's a whole other conversation. And we'll cross that bridge in 4 years from now, whenever that book will get announced. But you know, it's, I think about all that stuff too, because we learned a little bit more about the Dark Days and Ballad, and we learned a little bit more about the Capitol, and a little bit more about all these other things that were mentioned as exposition, really, you know, in the original trilogy. So I'm curious to know what we will learn with this one.
Oh, the world building in this is going to be insane. At least I hope.
So excited. That's the part that I'm maybe most excited about, more so than like which character will be the focus, you know?
Oh, same, same.
I want to know how all the systems work. And I think that's
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
very much what this is, with the whole propaganda thing and the government stuff. Which, by the way, fun fact for anyone watching or listening who is a fan of Lost, Emily, we spoke about this briefly. If you're a fan of Lost, the character Desmond Hume, Desi, was named after this philosopher, and I find that interesting. So,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah,
That's really cool.
if we can get another actor from Lost in this movie, that would be so cool.
No. Casting
really
call is newcomers, and no one from Lost.
Matthew Fox.
Unless it's Daniel Day Kim.
I really hope
really
there's
hope
a
that they're new.
character. I hope there's a character that's off the wall as much as Dr. Gall was.
No.
Oh, I think so too.
No way.
Yes.
No.
Dude,
I know it's
No.
snow now.
Yeah. I kind
Ooh.
of this might be a hot take, I don't know, but I'm kind of good on that. I liked Gaul. I like the character. I'm glad she exists in the canon and all of that, and clearly her influence is undeniable, but it was a little goofy sometimes for me.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
she served her purpose, and like
Yeah.
Snoke didn't like her and like didn't
Right.
like how she was. So I don't know if he would tolerate that again. It was like that was a
Right,
little
no.
much.
Yeah, I don't particularly think maybe anyone exactly like her, like a game maker or even in the Capitol, but just kind of a character that's a little creepy and sinister. And
I would like
maybe she
like
will
that.
write Snow like that, but
It'd be interesting to see if there is a tribute like that, especially one of the careers.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
that
That's
would
true.
be really cool.
Especially if like the arena winds up being what it is, you know, and how like things aren't always at what they seem, kind of thing. Like all these cute, pretty animals are actually awful. And then you have this like deranged 12-year-old. I don't know, that could be fun.
Right. Like we might see more
Yes,
victors
yeah, that's what I'm
because
saying.
of the mentors will
Yeah.
be established.
Oh.
Oh,
So
yeah.
maybe
That
we'll
would be
see some
fun.
new victors.
Oh,
Oh
It's
my God.
wild. New thought.
This is crazy.
Wait,
Like the fact that
question.
we even get to have this conversation.
I know. It's so nice.
Yeah.
I
will
was
Max be a
oh,
mentor?
probably.
Oh my
I could
gosh.
see that be one of the name drops. I'm also thinking about the other like victors we get in the 75th games that are maybe old enough to be somehow involved. Like this
Peter
is
and
just
Chav,
me in my
maybe?
fan fiction world, but like Brutus would be, for example. And so I'm
Right.
like, you know, there's that possibility, and he's a career. That's
Yeah.
interesting. And off like, you know, Chaff and Cedar and the older ones too, you
Well,
know.
who is Haymitch's mentor?
That's what I was going to say. We
That's
also
a
need to
great
see how that
question.
works when they don't
He just
have a
doesn't get
mentor.
one. That
Maybe a
sucks.
capital kid. I wonder if they just kept like academy students until like every district had a victor. Like, how did that work for District 12? It definitely wasn't Lucy Gray.
No, is his
No.
mentor. Not this again.
I always just kind of assumed that it was like the escort's job to like do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Imagine Effie as your mentor.
Oh my God.
I know
I feel
she's
like she's more
Smile.
helpful than
And here.
Hamish. I don't know. She's into pride and stuff. She would want that because it seems like I don't know. I feel like she's like limited in like, by the time we get to like Katniss and Peeta's game.
Yeah. Has anybody reread that part in Catching Fire yet today? I'm sure you guys have.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't had time.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rewatch the Mainstay Pro film right after
Oh,
this.
I did
I
that.
watched that.
Yes.
I didn't have time so far, but I've been like saving it. That's how I want to end my day.
You know, I'm actually so glad now that we didn't get Haymitch's games in Catching Fire
Yeah.
because the continuity of that or continuity of that would be difficult.
Nightmarish to say the
So
least.
I'm really glad, honestly, that
Yeah.
now we're just gonna have a movie where it's in it. We didn't need the flashback.
Yeah.
I was
You know-
thinking about that with like the Mockingjay pin, how with the first movie, they were like, okay, let's just have it be at the Hob. And I was like, wait, like that's Maisie Donner's bit, right? Like, how are they
Yeah.
gonna? I mean, I don't even know if that's gonna be a part of this story at all, but in
Well,
terms of
I mean, maybe the way they'll like retcon that is like Maisie dies and then her family is so depressed and they're like, you know, they get rid of some of her things because it's just too painful to hold on to. And then that's how the pin winds up at the Hob. And like, we'll just see like Greasy Say in her little tray of trinkets, you know?
I would love
There
to
you go,
see
right?
some sort of
Right.
connection where they make it work.
That's
Yeah.
the post-credit
Yeah.
scene, you guys.
That'd be nice.
And then it
Bring
turns
back
Honestly, they could
Greasy
just
Say.
retcon it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep everything the same and just never mention it. That's okay.
I mean, I feel like the book isn't going to have any issue with it because they're going to be able to talk about like Maisie Donner and like the pin and stuff like that. But movie-wise,
Mhm.
yeah, it'll be a little
Yeah.
tricky.
But they have to do it. I mean, they have to
Oh yeah.
somehow.
They can't not include the pin.
Even if
Yeah.
it's just for a poster, like they have to do it.
Maybe they'll have her wear it and then just not mention it.
Yeah, and it'll be like a
Yeah.
if you know, you know kind of thing.
Mm.
Hamish can take it like when she dies.
Just a post-credit
Afterwards.
scene where they throw all our stuff, like give it to someone at the Hob.
But seriously, think like how cool would that be? Just like it ends
I
on
kind
like,
of yeah.
in the
I'm
frame.
down.
Wow,
Alright.
for the
Just gets
closure of it.
lost.
I want to say also, this is so random, but like, wow, thinking about the journey that we went on between last night and where we are now is
No,
crazy. But,
seriously.
Yeah.
but like, I've
It's a
been
dream.
These 24
been-
hours.
I've been deep into my own like fanon trenches. I've been making a lot of OC art and planning out scenes and stuff because I maybe want to write some stuff. And I was just like thinking up of little ideas and things that I would like to draw out. And I was like, oh, it'd be fun to have like Ren and Haymitch having a drink in the Capitol or something. And that's literally the last thing that I wrote in my little notebook. And I was like, okay, I probably should go to bed.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And I was
Talk
like,
about
Manifest it.
manifesting.
Yeah, you manifested this, AJ.
for real.
Write down your manifestations, everyone. It works.
Yes.
And I've been like so deep into my own like fan and stuff because I've been in this place of like, well, now what, you know? Like I want to keep this going, but we don't have any official content to look forward to. The stage play is still kind of up in the air right now, you know, like so I'm like, well, I gotta keep the troops entertained somehow. Anyway, we're just gonna go off the deep end here with my OCs and then this would be a cute little drawing idea. Ren and Haymitch in the Capitol. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway,
Tyler in the comments said, last night I literally went to read Haymitch's games because 2 nights ago I began rereading the first book. And this happens today. What the heck? Like, people.
I think
We're manifesting it.
the stars were aligned, everyone. I think that's what's happening.
I
Yes.
love it because, like, I know that I'll always be like, where were you when you got the ballot? Where were you when you got the sunrise news? Like, I was so
The
disoriented.
sunrise news. Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
I mean,
Sunrise.
it sounds weird just calling it sunrise, but sunrise on the reaping is also very long.
Well, it's like ballad. We don't. Whoever actually calls it the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes
True.
every time? Nobody.
True.
I do.
Okay.
Oh.
Only Brian.
Do you guys want to hear my crazy story?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so yesterday I had a friend come visit me. They just wanted to come in and check in, see how I was doing. And we were talking about my fashion show and everything. And then he brought up the Hunger Games. And he was asking about my experience with the whole thing. And then he said, "Do you think they're gonna make a new one?" And I said, "No, I don't think so." I said, "Lionsgate has said they wanted to expand the franchise, but Nina and Francis, they won't do anything without there being a book first." And that was last night. And then we get all this.
Oh my god.
And then you text your friend and you're just like, hey, so by the way.
Brian, that makes it sound like you had like a media trained response. You were like, no.
Any other thoughts? Any thoughts people want to get off the top
Do
of
we
their
have
head?
any like movie thoughts? I mean, talking most about the book, but
Ooh, I guess one thing is kind of both. But like I saw on Amazon and on Barnes and Noble that in the product descriptions that it seems like it's estimated at 400 pages,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting.
Is that shorter than ballad?
Yeah, by
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah,
Ballad is like close
a
to
lot.
good. Ballad was too long.
600.
Ballad
But
was a little
I-
too long.
Five
I hope that
something.
means it's edited down a little more.
It makes me encouraged to know that that it is shorter than Ballad because I think that's one of the biggest hurdles that Ballad had for a film adaptation. I didn't mind the length of the book, but as we've discussed ad nauseum on here and everywhere else, that, the adaptation of that is really challenging. And I think they did good. Don't get me wrong, but it is definitely the hardest one to adapt because of how much information there is in that one, and like how the story is paced and stuff. So with this one, with Sunrise being shorter, that makes me a little bit more comfortable, I guess, with what the film adaptation will be like because the original books were adapted so well with a good runtime to go with it, So I don't know.
I mean, it's sadder because it's shorter because less Hunger Games, but film-wise, yeah,
feel
makes
Don't
sense.
forget the Ballad of the Epitaph. That's
Oh
my
funny.
gosh.
Oh no.
And
Watch it be that somehow actually still finagled to it somewhere in there.
Can you imagine that one's like coming next? Like as soon as like Sunrise is like on DVD, we get the announcement, the Ballad of the Epitaph, and we just go back to snow from wherever we were.
Maybe it's
The
District 4
Whiplash.
though.
maybe.
Stop. No. No, don't even joke about that.
It sounds like you don't see divinity.
Listen,
Not at all. He ghosted me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Movie wise, I just hope that whoever they cast, like for Haymitch, at least is an unknown actor. Because all of these fan casts, I don't support them. I'm sorry.
No, same.
No, same.
Same.
I like that when Hunger Games was cast, like no one knew Jennifer Lawrence and no one knew who Tom was for Snow. So like I would like that for Haymitch.
No, same.
I feel like there's a good chance for that. I'm sure we'll start seeing the Timothy Chalamet fan casts at any
I
moment.
would end myself.
Right? If
Please don't
like in
tweet
the
that,
worst
even as a
world.
joke.
Don't put that out because some of you have some manifesting powers.
Yeah, no, we don't need that in our Hunger Games movie.
Please no.
To counteract what I just said, I will say this. I won't name the person because I don't know if they're comfortable with me sharing this, so I'll just leave it at that. But I did see a fan cast for Mike Feist as
No,
Hamish,
I thought that.
No.
and I was
Oh.
like, "Why are you kind of cooking?"
No,
You know,
literally
32,
thought that
but we can
today.
work with that.
Absolutely
work with
not.
that.
He was not. I saw that. I was like, no.
I mean, if they have to get
No.
like, I mean, I'm sure they won't go with a big name for Haymitch,
No.
but the other characters like Snow, like I said, Jude Law, that's
No.
like my headcanon now. I just like
Let's
randomly
get Jude Law
thought
for Haymitch, actually. I could see that.
it. As a 16-year-old kid, it'll work. He
The
can
guy
really
also
truly
has to
play
look like
anything.
Woody Harrelson. That's another thing. Like Tom kind of resembles Donald Sutherland.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they gotta find somebody that looks like Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
I'm like the worst at casting things, like honestly.
Oh, me
It'll come.
too.
Well, the other thing is like we don't know if Haymitch will be the central perspective, and if he's not, which I think a lot of us are leaning that way, it could be like a small role on screen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know,
That's how I feel. I think it'll be a small part.
Yeah.
because I think if anything, the games will be kind of like I mean, it'll be the main event in the story, but it might be background to the main plot in the book, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
expecting. Because like Suzanne already kind of just she covered the 50th games, honestly, like in
Mhm.
Catching Fire. I don't really need more of that repeating. And so I do think that she's very smart. We worship her. So I think that she'd be doing something more along the lines of that.
Hmm. Yeah, what we don't know is more what happens on the game maker side, like the
Yeah.
political side, and like why they
Mhm.
choose to make the decisions that they do.
Mhm.
it's
And the
like,
social dynamics within the tributes.
mhm.
Yeah.
And her
Mm.
saying like the power that the people who control the narrative have, like that to me feels
Mhm.
like such a game maker thing
Yeah.
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 because they're literally in control of the image. So here you go.
I
Uh,
just hope we get to see some of the like aftermath of like the Haymitch winning. Like I just hope it doesn't just
Where
end.
his family dies.
Yeah, but like
I think
I
that's
hope
gonna
it
be the
goes
end of the
further.
book.
No, I hope it goes further
Yeah,
than
but
that.
that's 2 weeks after the games. I hope there's more time. Like
No.
how with Ballad, like the games ended and then there was a whole part after that. I kind of want that for this.
Yeah, same. Because I will never remember, like, I'll never forget, like, where I was when I, like, turned the page, the game was over, and I was like, okay, so what now? And it just says part three, the Peacekeeper, and I was like, Suzanne, girl.
yeah, I I'd be curious to also if there's like the possibility to see what the life of a victor is after their games because we didn't really get that very much with Katniss and Peeta. And Katniss and Peeta, like, yeah, they were technically like the victors and mentors, whatever, for like a year, but they were also such a unique scenario that they were automatically going to be different than the last 73 victors or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So it'd be cool to know a bit more about like the victors and their post games talents and like again with propaganda and stuff and yeah, just kind of like how you go on to be a victor and what is your life after that beyond just what we know from Candace and Peter.
Yeah. I just hope that they cast Stanley Tucci again.
Yes.
It's like a requirement, honestly, for me.
Yeah. It would be weird if they did like a recast if he was, but I mean, he's gonna be younger.
In the book, I think he's described, like, Katniss says that he basically looks the same.
Same, yeah.
What if they just have I'm blanking out his name, Jason Schwartzman play Caesar? They look alike. And everyone, like half the people thought he was Caesar.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's very true.
I think I might have said this in the tribute talk chat. I don't know if I said it in the Gems chat, but that could be kind of like a change. Oh, I guess no, because we do know that it's Caesar. Never mind. I just answered my own question.
I think we're just all super drained right now.
Dude,
I think
what do we think the
that, like-
look of the movie is gonna be? Like, it was so like 1940s, 1950s.
80s.
70s?
80s, 70s, 80s.
That's
I
gonna
would
be
die for
so
80s.
interesting to see what the aesthetic of the movie is in that
That's such
way.
a good
Oh wait,
point.
since
Love it to
since
be
it's only
like
20,
60s, 70s.
well, since it's
Yeah,
only
that's
like,
what I think.
but what if it's, I mean, if it's only like 20 years before Katniss's time, what if it's like the early 2000s?
Oh
Like
my
late
gosh.
90s, early
90s?
2000s?
Oh my God.
I mean, when I
Can
think
we
like
see
20
them
years,
in a Shein fit?
oh my God.
Y2K.
It's actually just the millennial beige or whatever.
Oh my
Like
God.
No.
Just rose gold everywhere.
oh 2016 makeup.
Big eyebrows.
Oh my
I
god.
mean, I was rewatching Catching Fire the other day and I was like, oh yeah, you can kind of tell that this is like 2013.
You
With some
can.
So much peplum.
yeah. I know I have like so much more to say, but my brain is still just like reeling from all of this.
My brain is fried. Like
Yeah.
I'm staring at these images right now, just like, what? Like I don't think it will hit me for a while. Like
Yeah.
I don't think it will.
Like we
I
haven't
didn't
even
believe
slept
it at
on this
first.
info yet.
No.
No.
I don't, how do I go to bed tonight? Like what do I do?
I like kind of slept on it because like after I saw that the book was announced, I took like a 2 hour nap. Because like,
Oh
How?
my god.
I was so overwhelmed. I think I like overexcited myself and tired
Oh,
myself out.
Ronnie.
And then like when I woke up and like immediately opened up Instagram to see what you guys were saying about the book, I see on like in theaters November 20th, 2026, and I was just like, oh God, here we go again. And then I got excited again and just haven't even processed anything else.
I was on the
just love
subway and I felt my heart fall into my butt. I was like, what is going on? And I was on the subway and I couldn't react as openly as I would have liked.
Oh,
And it was
Yeah.
panic and that
Yeah.
tingly sensation you get in your fingers when you're about to like pass out. Like that's what it was. I was like,
oh.
here we go.
I just
Oh.
love that they're sticking to like dates, like mid-March with the first movie and then like
Yeah.
November with the movies specifically.
Yeah. November is Hunger Games month. I mean, with the
It
exception
is.
of the first movie, of course, but still.
I mean, it's also when Thanksgiving is. I mean, everybody hungers for something.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
God.
Not that.
Ronnie.
Oh my god, let's make tagline predictions.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh no.
Something with the
Everyone
sun.
sunrise for something.
Everyone sunrises.
Sun versus sun rising, so I make myself stand. That's what it is. There we go.
What
Oh, there we go.
was early bird gets the worm.
Stop.
Verb makes a comeback. This is actually a book about
I
Verb.
hope so.
It's just Burb. Yeah, it's all about Burb. It's
If
from
If
his
it's from Burb's perspective, I'm sad.
POV. Wow, so
This
much
is
to
just so wild. Like this is so
crazy.
incredible. I can't get over it.
I can't believe it.
I'm glad that we had that like space from like the movie from Ballad coming out and then
Yeah.
like, what is it, 6 months? Something like that. Yeah.
see. I
my
don't
God.
feel that way. I feel like we got no time. They were like, bam.
I'm like, I will never take it for granted. Like, I was so miserable the last few months without Ballad. Like,
Same.
I mean, I
Same.
appreciated the breather. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah.
Oh my god,
But
you guys
we're
had like
back.
your manifestations last night. Last night I was complaining to my friend, I'm like, I have nothing to look forward to. What am I supposed to do?
I was
I
saying,
And then
literally
waking up
literally
to
had that
this.
conversation with a coworker yesterday.
Yesterday
Yeah,
we
it's
were
like-
getting very nostalgic on social media for some
Yeah.
reason.
We
So
were.
true.
We
think
felt something.
We were in some sort of like collective, like
Mhm.
Something
frequency.
shifted.
Yeah.
the
No.
universe knew.
And I'm literally looking at my notebook right now, looking at that note, and it's giving me chills. I'm like, what the heck? How?
When do we think we're
All
gonna
just
get like
collectively
cover?
manifested it
I'm
Oh,
trying-
God.
In the fall.
Yeah.
sometime.
I would
in
say
the
like
coming days.
in the coming.
In the
Coming
coming
days.
months.
Oh,
They're
maybe
like
on July
speed
4th.
running it. I
That would
don't
be so
know.
cool on Reaping Day.
How true.
Oh.
Do it on July
Oh.
4th.
But when did we get it last time?
It was
Was it
during
in
this
the fall for
it was during that fair that they had at the Javits.
Oh, right.
I don't remember like what the fair was. It was like a book fair. I don't know.
Ronnie, let's hang out outside Javits just in case.
Just every day.
Yeah,
Like I don't care if the
actually.
cover's out. I don't care if the cover's not out yet. I'm still. What is that meme? I've seen it all day. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
down.
I'm seated.
Yes, yes,
I don't
yes.
care, it doesn't exist. I'm seated.
What color do we think it's gonna be?
I kind of would like it to be that purple color. I know I already have like the magenta, but
Mm.
or
Do we
even
think
like
it's gonna be like sunrisey colors?
Yellow?
Orange.
Or
oh,
No.
yellow would be cool.
we could get a split complementary palette, which means so like how purple and yellow are opposites, a split complementary would be purple and orange, for example.
That would be pretty.
Oh.
I mean, they announced it in June. What if it's like a rainbow?
Oh my
Lucy
God.
J.
For
Easter
pride, for
egg.
Or
pride.
like gold?
Pride.
It's actually
Kind
a
of a
bright
gold
way.
yellow?
It's about Hamich's actual secret love affair with a guy from District 12 that he falls in love with.
Plot twist.
Plot twist. I saw somebody tweet like something like they better make Haymitch bisexual.
Oh.
Because that is one thing that I would like a little more from the Hunger Games is a bit more like queer representation.
Mhm.
I mean, we did have that one character in Ballad, but he was written out of the movie, so
And then
So-
Barb Azure was
yeah, Barb Azure.
Our queen.
Justice for
Wait,
Barb. and her
Who
book.
besides Barb?
The guy that ran the club. I can never remember his name.
Pluribus
Pluribus.
Yeah, Pluribus
Oh,
Bell.
right.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Gotta like
Yeah.
gotta like a partner.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you
Just
think
be nice.
Lionsgate is already working on like the teaser video? Because we got that before, like, I feel like we got that before we got like half the casting for Ballad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they pumped this out pretty quick. This little poster teaser thing
Yeah.
it is. But granted, though, who knows how long that they've had?
That's what I'm curious as to how long like Suzanne's been working on this book.
Yeah, like I just keep seeing people saying cash grab, and I'm just like, I feel like she's been working on this probably since Ballad book came out.
Right. That I was
Mhm.
thinking maybe pandemic.
Mhm.
Oh
I bet
yeah.
it was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Like, what else was there to do besides write?
No, that's very true. I always think that for some reason Ballad was written during the pandemic, but there's no way it was. That's
Yeah. Well, especially with like Ballad talking about, the war and how there were like there was disease and like,
Just the weirdest coincidence.
yeah, that was crazy.
I know. And
She's the oracle. I've been trying. That's what
I
I'm
know.
saying.
No, she is one of the most brilliant people to ever exist, I think.
My therapist and I used to talk all the time to each other about how we think Suzanne Collins is one of us in a PTSD sense, but also maybe in an autism sense, potentially. But also just her being like so in tune with like pattern recognition and human behavior. And I haven't had a therapy session in 6 months, and I literally texted my therapist today, and I was like, I just need you to know that there's a new Hunger Games book and a new movie coming out. Just because, like, just for your own enjoyment, like you just need to be aware.
I
And,
hope we get a book tour.
Yes.
Yes.
Please.
Well, because during the premiere, Suzanne said, like, I was so bummed we didn't get to do a book tour. So I feel like she's going to.
But at the same time, why would she subject herself to that? Like, I mean, just meeting
what do you
her
mean?
and seeing how she doesn't really like to be in public, like
Yeah.
that much, and the crowds and everything. I don't know. She did a
I'm
book tour
optimistic.
for Mockingjay, and like the scale is just going to be completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also
I
think
feel like
that
she would do it because Ballads was canceled.
Yeah.
when
I
also
think it'll be like
the-
one major event, like maybe something in New York or LA or something like that.
I'm hoping for New York. I'm a little biased,
I'll be
but
there.
Literally Hunger Games to get tickets to like
Oh my
meet
God.
Suzanne.
oh gosh.
It's just to see her.
Yeah. I mean, I also think like yeah, she doesn't seem like she's very comfortable being the center of attention or whatever, but the premiere environment is so different than like a book signing, you know?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking.
I mean,
Because even
screaming
like when I,
fans, I don't.
but like
But
when I
for
went to go,
people, yeah.
when I went to go get my book signed by Jennifer and Josh, like the line was crazy. They had us wait. Like I was there from 6 a.m. I didn't leave until like 9:30 p.m. Like it was crazy. And, there was a girl who proposed to Josh, and that was really awkward to witness.
Oh no.
Real, I understand, valid, but it was awkward. But like, it was definitely like a large event, and like press was there. I literally was on the newspaper cover the next day. That's crazy. But it was still like a much more controlled environment. They only let like 20 people in the Barnes and Noble at a time, so that like physically in the space around Josh and Jen, it was like pretty calm. It was more so like outside that it was crazy. And I feel like a premiere, especially where she was signing books at the famous fan pen, like that's a jarring experience for everybody involved, not just her. So I think it's definitely possible that in a more controlled book signing environment that it would be possible.
Yeah, and she can always pre-sign the books. Like I've gone to different like book signings where they pre-sign them, like, and it's just a conversation or something like that. Like
The Q&A.
I think it'll be. I think I have a feeling she'll do something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it in my work calendar now. Like the entire
Everyone
month
manifest.
like the entire month of March, I cannot travel for work. I'm telling you. I put it on my status on Slack. I put the little Mockingjay emoji and let everybody know that the new book was coming out. And my boss was like, I was just about to message you. I was like, I'm already on it. Like, I got it.
Yeah. I can't stress enough though. Like, I mean, we brought it up a few times, but just like how many random people came out of the woodwork to like message me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Between the Hunger Games news and the Barry Keoghan being in Sabrina Carpenter's new music video, a lot of people have been messaging me today. But yeah, I do smile like really big whenever somebody who's like not in the fandom will message me like, "Hey, I'm so happy for you," or like,
Yeah.
it's like a personal celebration, like a personal achievement almost, that we've been getting like messages from friends and family. It's great.
Well, I'm going out to celebrate this weekend. I'm like, I have to celebrate somehow. Like,
Oh, same.
For sure.
this
I
like
have
is
to work
for celebration.
I have to work at Gov Ball for the next 3 days, and
Oh,
like,
I'm so sorry.
and I don't know
No.
how I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna be telling everybody, by the way, new Hunger Games book.
That's all that's going to be on our minds for the next few years. I'm so excited.
Yeah, we got so long now to like get pumped and get
But I
excited.
love it. I'm just getting situated.
But also like a nice timeline where we aren't gonna have to wait too long.
Yeah.
Like stuff is gonna start happening.
Yeah. I think that the pandemic and the strike really put so much up in the air to like when you were experiencing that live, it was stressful because we were like, what's even happening? We don't even know like if the music or the movie industry is coming back,
Oh my gosh, the movie with real promo, no strike.
Oh gosh.
Comic
Excited.
Like it's almost like a redo, kind of.
Yeah.
That's how I described it to my friend.
This might sound weird, but I'm kind of glad to be back at an odd number of books. Is that
No, same.
That does feel nice.
Yeah.
It feels more comfortable. I don't know why. I
No,
just don't like the
totally.
numbers. But I'm like, no, 5 feels solid again because there's one in the middle, if that makes sense. I don't know what that is, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not one
Comes to
random
next.
book off on its own as
Yeah.
well. It's gonna be like a little duology and then trilogy.
Unless we get another book later.
Right. And trilogy and
Please.
trilogy.
Please.
Please.
as a
'Cause,
side
like,
note,
if this book was her COVID book, I can imagine her writing about like current things now and then
Mhm.
like dropping that once this is out.
Mhm.
there's a lot of big political things happening in the US right now that are definitely That would definitely
writing
warrant
about.
a Suzanne Collins book. I'll just leave it at that.
Yep.
Exactly.
And the oracle
Like-
must speak.
I saw some people on Twitter saying that like this book is about those things, and it's like, no, she writes years in advance, so it's definitely
Mhm.
this will be COVID, and then we'll probably get like this book in a few years.
Yeah.
Especially with the theme of misinformation and propaganda. I mean, not for nothing, but like, getting reliable information on anything was such a
Yeah.
freaking struggle in the pandemic, on anything, literally anything, not even just COVID itself, but like literally anything during that time.
And that was everywhere. That was global.
Yeah. I mean, like when you think back on 2020 and everything that was going on then, I mean, between COVID and the murder hornets, which are tracker jackers, by the way, in my head, but also like the official acknowledgement of a UFO. Like there was so much that happened that like everyone was like, I can't care about this right now. Everything is so saturated with crazy information, and half of it isn't even real, and there's no like anywhere reliable to turn to for any information, and it's so disorienting.
This book will help us collectively process COVID so that we can finally put it behind us.
Yeah.
I love that.
As a side note, the illustrated edition of the first book is also coming up soon.
We love them. Oh my gosh, so excited for her.
I need to pre-order that. Or maybe I
No,
did.
we all just like forgot about that poor book.
I totally forgot about that.
Sorry about you.
Well,
I'm so excited for it though. The illustrations are
It's
gonna be
gonna
so
be
cool.
so
The
good.
illustrations are
Yes.
beautiful.
Can we just
I'm-
talk about like years ago where we were versus like where we are now? Like we are getting like allegedly a play. Like we are
Allegedly.
A play in
They're
quotes.
getting it. What do you mean? They mentioned it in the press release, which I feel like they're thinking about it.
no, I think
It's real.
the fact that they mentioned it in the press release gave me like a teensy bit of hope, but then like
Same.
everything else, I don't know. That's a whole
Yeah.
thing.
I mean, I'm still a little scared, but at least they are like publicly acknowledging it.
I
Yeah.
feel like I'm more confident though that it's gonna happen now that we know that there's another movie, another book. Like
yeah.
they just want to
behind
keep the franchise alive with things.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The franchise is alive and well, and so am I.
It's just
This is just gonna be wild. Like we've got the illustrated book coming, then we'll have the play, then we'll have this new book come out, then we're gonna have like casting in the summer and set pictures.
all set
The fact that we're
pictures.
gonna get movie information so quickly after reading the actual story itself,
Yeah,
like we're hardly gonna have to wait.
not at all.
But I wonder if
Also-
actors are going to be able to like read it early, or if they have to wait until the book is out to like start auditioning. Because how's that going to work?
Mm. I mean, I'm
I
sure.
hope- I would hope they would have to read it first.
No,
Yeah,
me too.
I would think that the casting wouldn't be until like the summer of
Yeah,
2025.
I think in the spring they'll be doing pre-production stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We might get like
If-
the first like move, like logo or image of some kind, first teaser or something.
yeah.
I'm also laughing because I think I have the 5 film DVD thing, like box set on pre-order that's supposed to also be coming out soon. And I'm like, well, dang.
So one more.
Which, I mean, I was gonna get it regardless. I'm literally the Hunger Games collector. That's in my name. But it's just funny again with the timing of it. I was also thinking about, in terms of timing, how in the US Netflix had the Hunger Games movies literally until like what, last week? And I was like,
Yeah.
y'all really couldn't wait one more? Like I was sitting down for dinner with my mom and we were gonna watch the first movie only to realize that it's not on any streaming service that we currently have right now. And I was like, you're joking. That's a crime.
Rude. They did that
Bring
on
it.
purpose.
See, propaganda. They're controlling the information.
Man.
I am a little bit worried about Francis Lawrence's schedule. Like, not super worried, but
If he doesn't direct, I will.
I
Very
think
rough.
he's definitely
Yeah, I
going to
think he's gonna
direct.
direct.
But I mean, he's just doing a movie this summer that starts filming in July. So
But that's this
July,
year.
August, September, then doing like
We always have a
post-production.
backup.
I mean, they can't film it until
He's
next
waiting in the
summer.
wings.
So I mean, he does have
Yeah.
a year.
It's just
Yeah.
going to be like back to back.
What if we did, what if
Mm.
Christopher Nolan directed this movie and then it's like 4 hours long and like super trippy? I would love that.
I would love that too, actually.
Right? I'm
I
just
feel like
saying,
they could do it.
alternate universe. Christopher Nolan
Except
directed the Hunger Games
the,
franchise.
the only issue is that the Quell is very bright and Nolan's movies can be a little dark. So
But the whole theme of real or not real, I feel like that's Nolan's brand. Like,
Yeah.
did this really happen? Non-linear timelines? What are we doing?
you can
Yeah.
have Killian as Haymitch.
You said what, Killian as Heyman?
Yeah.
Don't play.
Oh my God.
I don't know for what or who or what capacity, but I would absolutely die in the best way if Killian Murphy ever somehow gets involved with a Hunger Games project. Like,
I mean, I
plays
I
can
would
see it
sweetheart.
actually
happening.
ascend. I can't handle that. I actually don't want that. I don't know how
The
I'd.
Hunger Games has so many big actors, like when you really think about it. So like
It's
it's
not
not
crazy,
impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
not completely delulu, but it would be it for me. I would perish.
We're
And like he's
manifesting
already
it.
gonna work with Lionsgate, so like I don't know.
He is doing that thing at Lionsgate. Oh my God, stop. Don't do this to me.
Just write it in your journal and manifest it. It can happen.
Manifest it.
I will write down Killian Murphy and Jessica Chastain. If I can get either of them in a Hunger Games project, that's all I need.
I would love to see. I would love to see Jessica Chastain do a Hunger Games movie.
Yeah, she would do so well.
And I would love her as some sort of antagonist.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, just putting that out there. Never know.
I mean, anything is possible because 24 hours ago we didn't even know this was possible. So
Yeah.
Not to be like weird or anything, but as a recovering addict, I'm like low-key the like dopamine or whatever. I'm like, this is a little crazy.
Yes, AJ.
Thank you, Gabby. I knew you'd understand. Yeah, I don't want to like. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like, oh no, now I need this to keep going. Like it's the reward system
Mm-hmm.
in my brain is like, oh, we're gonna get crazy news every day from now on, you know? And it's like, no, that's not how that works. But like, yeah, something I'm very aware of about myself.
The 1-2 punch today though was crazy. I was not expecting
no,
movies
seriously.
No.
that quickly.
I thought we'd get it like next week or something.
Yeah.
I don't
Honestly,
remember
good
how
for
long it took
Suzanne.
Ballad, but I thought it would take longer. Not that I want it to take long, but also I don't want them to rush it either. What are they cooking?
I'm curious to see like what the budget of this one will be because Ballad was the first Hunger Games movie had a $90 million budget and Ballad only had a $100 million budget. Um, so I'm curious to see if like if they're confident enough with how Ballad did, like if they'll bump up the budget to like Catching Fire's budget, which was like I think 145 million.
I
Hopefully
saw
a little more, because I feel like this movie will need more CGI.
Yeah, especially with the
and then
arena. Oh my God.
I
You have to
also
pay
saw like
everyone.
I saw in an article that they like I don't remember if it was a quote or if it was just like the literal article, but it was saying how yeah, like Ballad had a budget of 100 million, but it wound up making like 339 or something, so it made a profit, which made it
Yeah.
favorable, no pun intended, for Lionsgate to make more installments.
Yeah.
So I think that's encouraging given the fact that like all the trials and tribulations that Ballad went through to get to where it got to is so encouraging because it's like assuming that this next time around there aren't going to be those two main obstacles that Ballad had to kind of overcome. On top of it just being kind of a somewhat controversial story to begin with. This is already starting off to be more popular based on the content we do know about.
Yeah.
And then the assumption that, you know, this is going to be smooth sailing from here on out is, I think, for them really exciting.
I agree.
And Hunger Games is like literally one of their biggest franchises ever, period. So,
Yep, hands down.
Yeah. It's like that and John Wick. I think are like
and
the only
Saw.
two.
Dude, there's a new Saw movie coming out. Are we like that's
What?
that's another thing, man.
There's another one.
Yeah, they announced Saw 11 pretty much as Saw 10 was coming out.
Oh my gosh.
But Saw 10 was fired, even though I haven't seen it, but I'm obsessed with it, as we all know. I have my weird little parasocial relationship with that franchise. But yeah, they announced that like super quick. I don't know where it is in terms of production now, but that's another Lionsgate picture.
Yes, Lionsgate, keep up the good work.
Good job, Lionsgate. We're happy.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Make
Thank
us
you.
extras in the film.
Please,
We
please.
need 48 tributes. I mean, well, I guess
There's
46 tributes, not counting Maisley and Hey Mitch.
they count.
Yeah, it'll
They
work
could be
though.
extras.
I can
Uh,
run.
Just like dressing up as one of those like scary birds. And I'll just
Ah.
It
Quiet.
says in the like because I reread that section of the book, it says like 18 people die in the bloodbath. That's like the gems.
Yeah.
yeah.
I would
Just
love
show up
to
and die. I would love that.
and then we could all say I would die to be in the Hunger Games. Ha ha.
Oh my
But
Do it
I
for
God.
the
It's like that scene
Yeah.
in Challengers when Zendaya is like, I would kill someone, literally, to play tennis again. It's
Oh
like,
yeah.
I
An
would
old
kill
woman,
to
a
be in
child.
this.
I would be put in the Hunger Games just to be in the Hunger Games movie.
Yeah. Just give me a chance to win the Hunger Games, guys. I could do it.
Any other thoughts from anyone? I feel like we've kind of talked in length about the book, but any other thoughts on the movie or
I'm just I'm just excited to be back.
so excited to be back? We're back. We're going back into the arena.
It took us
Yes.
this
Said
level
it
of
before.
information to get us to do a tribute to Hawk.
I know.
Like we'll do another one, we'll get to it. New book and new movie. All right, we're
All
doing
right,
it.
here we go.
It happened. We have priorities, right? The Hunger Games is number one.
Always.
Yep.
We are risen.
Oh, I guess on that note, if anyone, I mean, if there's no more thoughts, I feel like we can wrap up for tonight and we'll come back screaming, crying, throwing up when the cover is released.
Yeah, I need to process this. I definitely need to like sleep on all of this.
I need to write out some more thoughts.
Yes.
Everyone's
Whoever said, what if it's fake? Now they have me scared. Imagine we wake up and it's like, haha, just kidding.
I'm like, I'm
Sunrise
so
on the
scared.
gas.
We got propagandaed.
No gaslighting here, only real truth. It is real.
Right.
Real or
Real,
not real.
not
Real or
real.
not real.
Real. I tell
Real.
them.
It's real.
Oh, well, thank you so much, everyone. It's been so great to see everyone in the chat, like commenting and talking and seeing all of our friends again. And thank you for everyone who joined tonight. It's so great to have Tribute Talk back, but to have friends on, and to hear your voices again has just been so sweet. So thank you guys so much for this. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Lionsgate. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you, Suzanne.
I'm gonna go cry.
you.
But stay tuned for updates. And we will see you soon, I'm sure.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.